Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. And so, as we've done quite a few really scrappy builds in recent weeks, I thought we'd go the opposite direction this time and do something that's, well, pretty. So let's jump in and take a look at this place. Yeah, the idea for this one was to go with a simple cabin and a little garden area out front, which has come together quite nicely, I think. It's created the desired effect. Looking at where we are for a moment, you can see my little country cabin there. I've got Gilman Lumber Mill over the way, and the isolated cabin there. We're just down from Vault 76, so literally straight down the hill. The little pond on the way, sort of towards the Wayward, which you can see here, is exactly where we are. Kind of a popular place to build this. You'll often see camps here, but I've never actually built on this spot before, so I thought, why not? And yeah, very, very small little cabin is the vibe here. Dead easy structure to put together, but it looks alright, especially once you dress it up. I had originally intended to go a little bit larger, but it was just a bit too big for the space, so keeping it kind of small. So we've got a 2x3, and then we've got this foundation on the back that we've lowered down. It's not quite as low as it will go, because I don't really want the drop to be too dramatic, but it's a little bit... It's about as far as I can get away without it feeling like you're falling off the foundation there. We'll get rid of some of the bees there. This is one of the big problems with this spot. It does frequently get hit by the bees from that little hive over the way there. So I'm going to pull that foundation out, stick a staircase in here, and drop it back in again, so we can clip those through. And we're going to have our doors running straight through the centre here, or opposite each other. Drop a couple of extra foundations on the end there, because we're going to have a kind of lean-to on the end of the cottage there, just to sort of break up the shape a little bit. And we'll get a little porch on the front here as well. There we go. Using a couple of the corner pieces just to kind of tidy it off a little bit. And we'll get a couple of windows in. Tendency to drop down onto the lower level there, but nonetheless, that's easily fixed. There we go. A couple more walls. I did want to use something other than the log cabin set, really, because I've used this a few times lately, but looking at the other stuff we had available, this was basically the most suitable thing. Everything else was a little too modern, so or really too scrappy, so log cabin won out by default. There we go. Dead simple shape there. Avoiding the box vibe as much as possible. We'll put an angled roof on and the porch on there, and of course once we dress it up a whole bunch, it'll blend in quite nicely, I think. And to mix things up a little bit here, we're going to put some glass roofs down the centre. This is the rustic set that we're using here. They've got the open windows in them and that kind of nice bowed roof on them, which I kind of like for sort of a change of texture, change of shape. And yeah, just mixing those up, changing the centre a little bit, make it a bit more interesting. Now, I kind of want to lower the roof under the solid roofs rather than the glass one. So I want to put a flat roof underneath, which obviously we can't just snap in, because they're too close together and the game doesn't like that. But we'll throw this lean-to on the side while we're around here, which is dead easy. A couple of half walls, a couple of angled roofs, job's good. Now we're going to jump up to the top, and we'll get these flat roofs underneath the angled ones. So, as per, we're going to have to use the flamethrower trap here, just to allow us to bypass the collision a little bit. So if we set it up the roof a little bit, we can hit both roofs at once. Although we do have to now craft a second flamethrower to do the other side. Or do them separately, either works. However, I would not recommend putting it down sort of here, because you won't hit the second roof from here, which is not actually a problem, because I can just pick it up and move it, but still, slightly more efficient if I hadn't done that. But let's fire that one off again. He says, come on. There we go. Delay on that can be slightly frustrating sometimes. There we go. The angled roofs destroyed, we can just grab a couple of flat roofs, any one we like, and tuck them under. Floors would have been better here, but I'd have needed staircases to support them then, and I definitely didn't want a staircase in this one, so gotta make do with the way it is. Let's just repair those. Nice and easy, and there we go. So, almost done on the structure now. Get a couple of railings around the outside here. We'll pop down the back and put a couple of fences on the little dock, I suppose, jetty kind of thing out here. I'm actually going to switch these out for barbed wire fences as they fit with the rest of the set a little better, but I'll do that during the decoration phase, which I think it is about time we had a look at. So let's move on to the tour. So here we go. Short and sweet today. Dead easy structure to do, but it's all about the decoration really, this one. So we're tucked back a little bit from the road here. There's a few of these trees already in place. I've added a couple more of my own just to kind of make everything blend in a bit more. And there we go. We have a nice little garden out front. So this is the bit I really wanted to go to town on, the garden here. So the fence here is not really intended as a defensive emplacement so much as it is a sort of marking the edge of the garden and kind of giving it a garden vibe, you know. So I think it's done that quite nicely. And I've basically gone crazy with crops and plants and everything I can. And I'm quite happy that some of the little grasses and stuff have come back as well. It sort of adds a bit more variety into the garden. We've got meat fruit, potatoes, corn, razor grain, and a whole load of stuff from the build menus as well dropped in there. A little path out of the rocks here as well, just kind of lead up to the front door. Dress that up a bit further with a few more little tubs of plants as well. Quite like putting those sort of marble statues in as well. I wish we had a bit more variety. We've only got the one type that really looks suitable in here. I could have put the Vault Boy one in, but it would have looked a bit weird. So I had to have matching ones. But yeah, quite like that. Stuck a couple of scarecrows in as well. Partly for decoration, partly in case anybody comes running up and decides to start shooting. There's a good chance they'll aim at the scarecrows instead of anything else. So that would just make life a little bit easier. So swing around the side here. Got our little lean-to. On the fence all the way down to the edge here. Just to make it look complete. And we'll head on in. I've squeezed the collectron in there. He's sort of out of sight and out of the way there, and it works quite nicely. And we've tucked a little brewing station around back as well. Kind of like that there's just enough room to get past here and still access everything. Quite pleased with that. Sort of fitting workbenches and everything into this build was a bit challenging, and making sure they didn't stick out too much, look sort of out of place. Because obviously I do want this to be a functional camp as well, so you can always drop down into the shelter, I suppose, but yeah, a little bit of a challenge to hop back over the rocks here. Yeah, you could have dropped into the shelter, but I really wanted everything up top where I could actually use it nice and easily. There we go, we're over the rock now. So we'll head around the side here. And we've got a little toilet on the side there. Just the one solar panel there to power this place. It's all I really needed for the lights. The shower in there, a couple of other bits and pieces as well. Put a couple of hay bales there at the back as well, just sort of close it off, I guess, draw the eye back in a little bit. Kind of works quite nicely, and it's a bit more subtle than fencing it off or something like that, which works quite nicely for this garden. Whole row of plants across the front of the porches at the top there as well, which I'm quite happy with. Those look quite nice. Just kind of make it a little bit prettier. As I say, that's what I was going for with this one. Most of our crafting benches out front here. All the essentials. A few stash boxes as well. Got a vendor there as well. Nice and easy to find. Quite happy we've been able to tuck the power armor bench in there as well, right next to the chemistry station. It was a snug fit, but it works. Let's have a look at the inside. So we've got a living room on the left and a kitchen on the right. This place doesn't actually have a bedroom, which is, you know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it looks better than trying to cram one in, so here we go. You can see I've just put a few stash boxes up on the low roof there, just to kind of dress it up, make it look like storage space. Works quite nicely. A fairly standard living room, but quite happy with how the kitchen came out as well. Yeah, a few more on that side as well. Use those Nuka-Cola lights. Kitchen's just about small enough that it's easy to make it look reasonably well decorated without going too over the top on it. There's still a bit of budget left actually after all of this, which is quite cool. A lot of flamethrower work and patient placing, manual placing of bits and pieces in here just to get everything to snap together. Took a while to kind of make sure everything lined up properly, but it came out alright. Got the cooking station flamethrowered into the end there. I decided to put the fireplace on the top as a kind of pizza oven as well. I saw somebody else do ages ago, absolutely ages ago, but I can't remember who it was, but it was a cool idea, so I have borrowed it. Heading out to our little jetty. Put a couple of bits out here so you can hang out. Little fishing deck on the end there, fishing dock rather. So I've extended that out a little bit further because it was just a little bit too small out here. Weapons bench in the corner there, and of course symptomatic, so it's functional. We do often, as you can see, get a settler hanging around here, so kind of unintended camp ally there. But, you know, it makes the place seem a little more alive. It's fine. As long as you don't accidentally zap him when you're trying to deal with the bees anyway, which is one problem I had during the building. There we go. Just just a little bit of light touch on the merge glitch there to put some stuff onto the shelves. Getting that middle shelf filled up was proving to be annoyingly difficult, so I left it blank. But I also forgot to put anything on the, what do we call them? Helpful, I know. The magazine racks, because I so often do that. Easy done. There we go. I'm actually quite happy with how this place has come out in the evening as well. The lighting's quite nice on it as well, so we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Yeah. More about the garden than the house, really, this time, I think, which is what I wanted to emphasise. Absolutely stacked tons of stuff in here, so I'm quite happy with how that looks. A couple of extra those metal hubcap flowers in there as well. A couple of the resources as well. There's a beehive tucked behind on the left there, as well as the chicken coop. It's come out quite nicely. It's kind of friendly, cute little cottage vibe, which is what I was kind of going for. Bit different from the scrappy stuff I've been doing recently, but I thought a change might be worthwhile once in a while. So here we go. Have a look at this place in the evening. A reasonable amount of light. I put a good effort in to make sure that the garden was particularly well illuminated. Apart from the 2 oil lamps there, I've dropped a whole bunch of lanterns in and amongst all the plants, just so there's a nice little bit of glow coming out from them and you can see it nice and clearly. Makes the place look a little more eye-catching in the evening. Definitely the set piece being set off there. A little harder on this side to hide them, unfortunately. Maybe could have done a slightly better job. Also wanted to illuminate those statues a little better than I have managed to, but the alternative would have been trying to hide electric lighting in there, which might have been too bright, so it's a tough balance to strike sometimes. A couple of cage lights on the porch there. Just like to do that. Adds a little bit of light, kind of fits with the vibe. And we've just got them on the sides to kind of get them a little bit out of sight at the same time, so they kind of blend in better. Stick our nose into this little brewing shack on the side here. I've used one of the industrial wall lights there from previous season. Season 8, I think those were in. Not a huge amount of light coming off those, but we don't need a huge amount of light in there really anyway. One lantern and sort of tops that up quite nicely. Swing by here. A little bit more like getting out this time. Yeah. There's a nice kind of glow in the evening, which is quite cool. Yeah, I do like the way those cage lights are kind of... They're there, they're doing the job and you can see them, but they don't really catch the eye too much because they're just off-center and sort of blend into the rest of it. It's quite nice. Didn't need too much in the way of lighting other than that on this porch either. Obviously the punch card machine has its own light, as do the 2 workbenches on that side. Dropped one lantern there on this side just for the chemistry bench, and the idea was also to light up that cash register, the vendor, a little bit better, which didn't go quite according to plan, but nonetheless, you can find it easily enough. It's right there. Nice and homely on the inside. I realised I hadn't decorated those magazine racks and sorted that. Got the Christmas log light up there doing reasonably good bit of heavy lifting on that side. And 2 Nuka-Cola lights on this side. Unfortunately, because we've got roofs, they don't really mesh with the bottom of a roof very well, these lights, which is a bit unfortunate. They do fit quite nicely, and I was a little concerned they might be a bit too bright. I did have one in there originally, but it just wasn't enough, so... Fortunately, it doesn't spill out too far, which helps, so it's not too bad at all. A quick look out back. Kept it simple out here. Just got a couple of oil lamps, but just about enough light in. The light from these is actually bleeding through the walls and illuminating the inside a little bit, which my initial reaction was like, that's a bit unfortunate, but on reflection, that's kind of what allows it not to be pitch black unless you have windows inside your camp, which is a sort of subtle, practical game mechanic, behind-the-scenes mechanic sort of thing. It's actually quite a good idea, allowing the light to bleed through a little bit. As otherwise, we would find the inside of our camps being frightfully dark unless we really made an effort to light them up, so... As a way of letting the natural light bleed through the walls is not a bad idea. Obviously, that then knocks onto the artificial light we put in. But it has come out quite nicely, so I do quite like this. I'll close up that door. Had to use the country cabin door there. It's the only appropriate choice for this sort of build. And there we go. So I hope you folks did enjoy this one. I really quite like this. It's quite pretty. Nice change from the scrappy in it. Nice to mix things up once in a while. If you did like the video, please do consider dropping subs and likes for me. I do very much appreciate it. Down below the video as well, you'll find social media links, merch store, channel memberships, and all those other buttons if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Really, really helps out. So massive thanks to everyone who's done that. And if you get a chance, do join us for live streams as well. Of course, we're playing 76 and the final stages of The Witcher 2 at the moment as well. So I hope you join us for those. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.